Now I'm going to talk about first aid kits. What you should have in yours, what kind of kit you should have, what I like about this style. So first, you'll see on the outside that I have not just one tourniquet, but two. Now, the contrasting color is important, even though this is just a tourniquet holder, so it doesn't just blend in with the pack. And even if you don't know how to use a tourniquet, it's still a good thing to carry, and here's why. There's a much greater chance that somebody will come across you that can actually use it and help you. Maybe they don't have one on them, or maybe they forgot to grab it from their car, maybe they just never had one in their car. But there's a growing number of people who've trained in the military, in police, and just through Red Cross courses on how to use a tourniquet. They were, for a while, not recommended because of the risk of limb damage. And then they reached the consensus that you're better off losing a limb than losing your entire life. So a tourniquet is not something to be feared, but not having one might be more fearsome. So outside, you have the tourniquet that is attached to one of these zippers with the buckles, and I also have a tourniquet that keeps everything intact, which would just slide off. All right, so opened up, you can see everything in the first aid kit. You also have a moldable splint and an individual package for the individual band-aids. Now these are probably what you're going to end up using the most, the individual bandages. And it happens so often, I don't understand why people don't have these at the ready, as well as polysporin to expedite healing, minimize infection. So a couple things that you also want to have are honey sticks. Why is that? Well, they're a great tool for wounds. They can prevent infection. And if someone's in diabetic shock, which I guess more and more Americans are at risk from, diabetes at least, you have these at the ready, individually packaged. Tagaderm is also in here. That's a fantastic cover for road rash on bikes, as well as burns, and it's see-through so you can see the wound. It's better than just slapping on a bunch of mini bandages because you can cut this to size. Clotting sponge for severe bleeding. You also have Bactine double action, so it has lidocaine to quell the pain, especially important for kids. And then it also has the antibiotic in there, the topical antiseptic. So it's a pain reliever and antiseptic. Now, this thing you might not have seen before. This is an eye wash adapter. So what if you get something that is a chemical in your eye, more than just dirt and debris? You want to get it out immediately. This is basically a portable eye wash station. You find one of those 16.8 ounce plastic bottles, the common plastic disposable bottles. You put this on the top, squeeze it into your eye, and that can save someone's eyesight. There's also these disposable, expandable towelettes. So you're going to need to soak up blood, clean your hands afterwards. There's hand sanitizer in there, of course, tea tree oil, but these are also backup toilet paper. Okay, we've all lived through 2020, the great toilet paper crisis of 2020. So use it to wipe your face, wipe your body, wipe your hands, and then wipe whatever else. If you can get one, an EpiPen could save someone's life. And they're very easy to use, and they're extremely important as more and more people grow up without the ability to digest shellfish, peanuts, all kinds of allergies that didn't even affect my generation when I was a kid, let alone generations before. It's becoming more and more prevalent, so you need something that is different because times are different. There's the usual stuff, the Advil, the burn relief, lots of different kind of medical tape, zip ties, which you could use on this and a whole other host of uses, and tampons. Now, contrary to public belief, these are not good for a bullet wound. These are not absorbent enough. Even like the heavy day ones are not absorbent enough. But what these are good for is sterile gauze. They're individually packaged, and they have gauze inside that you could use for minor wounds, but again, not for gunshot wounds. That's catastrophic in most cases, depending on the gauge, and that's where you might want the Celox, the hemostatic gauze. You also might want, if it's a sucking chest wound, certain types of bandages for that, but that's more advanced. What we're talking about is just a first aid kit that's going to be good for
the 80% of the most common types of injuries that you come across in your car. You see someone in an accident, a cyclist went down, your kid gets hurt, someone just gets hurt inside. I've used this multiple times when I've been at other people's homes. When we went on vacation, I don't want to say who it was, cut off part of their finger at a VRBO. And we didn't even know if they had an emergency kit. We looked all over for it. I went out while they were looking and just grabbed this. So think about all these times where you keep this in your car or at least at your house, because after day after day after day of occasionally risky things, something bad's going to happen. Is your strategy just to assume bad things won't happen and that's your strategy? And then if you're wrong, then recalibrate then? Why not be proactive for the foreseeable threats and do as much as you can for the unforeseeable ones? And then I'm not going to go over everything in here, but these trauma shears are fantastic. Made by Leatherman. They will cut through a seat belt, which could be a life-saving tool if someone needs to get out of a car because the car is starting to catch fire, and you know what happens after that. Maybe they're underwater. It also has other implements built in, but it has a glass breaker tool. That could be critical. That could save someone's life. And the goal is to get the most useful tools in the smallest amount of space at the highest quality with the lightest weight and smallest size. So having everything in a neatly, tightly organized kit, all the things I showed you, including not just one tourniquet, but two, fits in one rollable kit that when you get to the emergency, you open it up, you can see where everything is. You don't have to dig through it like you would in a backpack. And that's another reason why I prefer having individual kits rather than everything just thrown into one emergency bag. And it's a good idea to have one of these in your car. Maybe you don't need everything, but as you saw at the beginning, it's relatively small when it's rolled up, and one at your house in case you're gone and you have that emergency kit with you and someone needs the emergency kit at the house, vice versa as well. Okay, so hopefully you never need these things, but if you do, hopefully you find it helpful. And I have a self-paced course that I've made where I continually refine my product recommendations. I do the time and the research and the money on trying these different products, so you don't have to. You can just take the best of what I recommend and save yourself hundreds of hours and thousands of dollars. So I'll include a link to that course as well as the website where you can find all my other courses. And I hope you find this helpful. Hope you never need it, but I hope you find it helpful if you do. Thank you.